So this sample space is clearly different from the sample space we have just described. Okay. Okay, think about this. Okay. Okay, that's all for this dice problem. And let's talk about Mendel's law of heredity. So, do you know Mendel? So this is the law of genetics, how genes are inherited. Okay, so here's one example. In parent generation, we have these are flowers of I think it's peas. Yeah, I think there's a yeah these are peas. Yeah. So there are two pure lines of peas, purple one and white one. So we cross them. So these are parent generation. We cross them, and there are offsprings here, and they will be 100% purple. Then we cross them, and the next generation there will be in the second generation there will be 70% purple and 25% white peas. So this white appears in the next generation. And Mendel came up with the theory that can clearly explain why this can happen. And this is a matter of combination of genes. Okay, so there are some dominant genes and there are some recessive genes. In higher organisms, including plants and humans, in in they have a pair of chromosomes. Okay, one comes from father, the other comes from mother. Okay, and basically they are almost identical. Okay, sometimes they have a little difference, but they are because humans are humans, so basically their genes are identical, right? They are almost the same. But there are some small differences, and that characterizes each individuals, like personalities and some traits, like height, weight, color, and so on. So there are some differences, although mostly the same. So there are some genes that determines the color of flowers. Okay, so in this case, in pure line, both in both chromosomes, they have the same genes. Okay, so in purple pure line, this is purple gene and purple gene. Okay, in one organism, and in another organism, in pure line, it will have white gene and white gene. Okay, but some genes are dominant and some genes are recessive. That means if you have, so in some case, in one individual, you have the gene for purple color and gene for white color. If that's the case, in this case, the purple will be dominant. So this will be dominant. So the color will be purple. White is recessive. So if they coexist, the color will be dominated by the purple gene. Okay? If they are both purple, of course the color will be purple. If both are white, then the color will be white. Okay? So in the parent generation, we had purple and white pure lines. So they are purple and white. In the first generation, in the germ cell, these pairs are split into, uh, uh, you know, in like sperms and eggs. Uh, there are only one of the pairs. Okay. So in germ cells, like eggs and sperms, pollens in the case of plants. So when they cross over, no, it's not purple. It should be purple. When crossover, so the offspring will have these genes. Okay, so purple and white. So this is offspring. So these are germ lines. And this is the first generation. If we cross this and this, there will be purple and white. So every offspring will have purple and white. But purple is the dominant gene. So in this generation, every individual will be purple. But in the next generation, so this purple and this purple may come together. And this purple and this white come together. And this purple and this white and this purple, this white and this purple can be in the same individual, and this white and white. Oh, this white and this white come together. So in this case, this is the second generation. This will be purple. This will be purple. This will be purple because purple is the dominant gene. But this will be white. So this explains this phenomenon. Actually, Mendel observed these colors. At that time there was no concept of genes. So he was observing these colors, and he was wondering how to explain these changes. So if we assume there is something like genes, so some kind of particles that transmit the information about the traits like this and recombined to express the colors, then he can clearly explain the frequency of all those colors very clearly. So this is the gene. So if this mixture of P and W is independent, then the proportion of the second generation will be like 3 out of 4 will be purple and 1 out of 4 will be white. And that is exactly the case for this particular trait. Okay? But there are many other characteristics of plants, like shape, round or wrinkled, or other colors of seeds, yellow or green, flower, purple and white we just seen. and smooth and constricted pods, axial and terminal flowers, or I don't know what this means, and green or yellow unripe pods, tall versus dwarf stem. So these are all traits observed in his garden. And these are dominants, these are recessives, and he counted the numbers in it in the second generation. Okay, here is the fraction of the dominant characters. The most, on average, it's exactly 3/4, right? Just like this example. Just like this example. But if you look closely, there are some deviation, small deviations. Some may not be too small to ignore. And there should be, I think, wait a minute. Think. Okay, so this is from lecture notes. And also there are correlation between two different traits, like yellow or green seeds versus round or wrinkled shape of seeds. And if they are correlated, if they are not independent, then uh, you can see from this table. But in this case, I think they are almost independent. And in this case, purple flowered, red flowered, or long pollen or round pollen. So long and round, they are alleles. Purple and red flowers, they're uh, another allele. And in this case, look at these proportions. These proportions. This is quite different from the previous example. Okay, it's different from 3/4. Different from 3/4. I mean, maybe you can say this is close enough, but maybe not. Uh, in the second half of this module, we will study how you can actually statistically evaluate this difference from the expected value of this theoretical value. Okay, but roughly speaking, this is a little bit different from the expected value. So how come this can happen? Okay. So maybe the genes determining these colors and these shapes are in the same chromosomes. Okay. There are many chromosomes, but if two genes are close together, then they are not independently inherited. So they are kind of correlated. They move together. So that's why there can be some correlations. Yeah. But at this point, uh, just notice that there are some phenomena like this, and we are interested in discerning whether this is just by accident or this has any statistical meaning or significance, and that we will study in later lectures. Okay, time is up, and any questions? Okay. Okay, then that's it. See you next week. Bye.